In addition to being able to route audio in several different ways, Patcher is also able to route MIDI in some creative ways as well. So in this video, we're going to give a basic demonstration by using Patcher to run a MIDI out channel to multiple sound generators. In my demo, I already have a MIDI out channel created with a MIDI line added to the piano roll. There are no channels that have sound generators on them. From here, I want to use Patcher to route this MIDI pattern to several devices, so I will start by inserting the Patcher plugin to the master channel. Once the interface appears, I want to set the input of the plugin to listen to the MIDI being sent by the MIDI out channel. Before I can do that, I need to see which port the channel is sending the data on. I can tell from the MIDI out plugin interface that the port is set to 0. So now going back into Patcher, I will right-click on the input icon, and from the Output Events menu, I will select MIDI port 0. This will add a new MIDI connection to the Patcher input. Now all MIDI data from the MIDI out channel will be sent to Patcher. However, as I want to route only the MIDI from the MIDI out channel, I'll need to deactivate the notes input that is enabled on the Patcher input by default. To do this, right-click on the input icon again and deselect Notes from the Output Events menu. Next, we need to add a sound generator. So right-click on an empty portion of the map and select Add Plugin. However, unlike we did in the previous videos, we need to select a sound generator instead of an effect plugin. From the pop-up list that appears, I'll add the saw or instrument. Next, I'll connect the MIDI out 0 to the saw or MIDI input. Now, if I am to play a note from the MIDI out channel, you'll be able to hear the saw or instrument. Now, let's take this a step further by routing the MIDI to another sound generator. Next, I'll add the Poison instrument to Patcher. Next, I'll route the MIDI from the input to Poison. And lastly, connect Poison's output to the Patcher's output. Now we can hear both SAR and Poison being played from the MIDI out channel. So, in the last 5 videos, we have shown the potential of Patcher to give you an insane amount of both audio and MIDI routing within the FL Studio environment. We encourage you to play around with Patcher and get more familiar with its possibilities.